He said, "Turn it off, Joe." And I said, "No, I can't turn it off, it won't start." And I said, "I can't start it." And he leaned over at me with a big grin on his face and said, "No, but I can." So that was my introduction to him. So you'll be pleased to know I'm not going to MC this afternoon. There'll be a small group of you who'll be quite happy about that. I'm handing over to my daughter Madeline, one of Bill's grandchildren, who's going to take over.
Alright, feels nice here. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for coming. I know it's a massive effort to get here, and I know that some of you have come from very far, so thank you so much for being here. We all wanted to really thank you for that, Vicky. Yeah, we're really grateful that everyone could be here today. And from the people that I've been speaking to so far, I know you're going to hear some great stories, some great memories, and so much so that we had to say, no, stop, that's enough speakers, thank you. Thanks for offering, but there's so many stories to fit into 90 years of a life, and what a life. Some of the stories that you're going to hear are true. Some are, well, let's just say you never let the truth get in the way of a good story. And I know that if any of you have been part of a Sunday night dinner, you'll know that sharing stories is a big part of our family tradition. And Bill would often have us, well, even now, I get back from Italy and I walk in the door and his first thing is, "How's Matteo? What have the kids been up to? What have you been doing? Where have you been?" You know, and he just wants to hear what's going on in life. What have you done? And I think that really inspired us all to live fun, amazing lives, to really live to our full potential. And I know Brendan was saying to me before, certainly my life would have been a lot more boring if I didn't know Bill. And I think we all feel like that as his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So, first of all, I'd like to ask Matt Dillon to come and share some words on behalf of his dad and life with Bill.
Hi, greetings everyone. Thanks Molly, thank you Bill for the invitation. When Vicky said, would you like to say a few words, I thought, shit, I don't really qualify. Try and get my dad to come. Billy and my dad, Brian, Donnie, Dillo, Monty, he's got like 100 names. I never know who people are talking about most of the time. They grew up together in Bronte, probably the longest living Bronte locals, still cutting it. My dad turns 96 next Tuesday. He couldn't be here today, he sent his apologies, he's just not well. But our story is that our house was directly behind the Moises. So we kind of, the Moises have always been there. The stories about Bill and the family have always been there. And of course, Bill and my dad have been mates for 85 years, I reckon. Just a long time, and remarkable, and they've got incredible stories. So I guess my story is I used to get juggled because both my parents worked. So I went to primary school at St. Charles, and 2 days a week, sometimes 3, I'd walk down to Yodo Electricians to be babysat. And after being belted around by the nuns and the Christian brothers all day, going down to Bill's garage was bliss. It was boys' own. It was like going into this secret world of the League of Gentlemen and Scoundrels and hell men. This community of people in that garage. I'd walk in and there'd be Gail, who was the most joyful creature I'd ever met. George would be down the back corner, the nameless men doing the generators, rewiring armatures. You all sort of lined up, one of which was my dad. They all had names that weren't theirs. So doing cashies, and I think that's why Bill just called everyone Joe. What do you know, Joe? Which is what I used to get greeted with. I'm just a kid going down to this grown-up world, and I always got a smile from Bill. He was always happy. He'd always want to know how I was. But everyone there had their place, their purpose. There was an incredible hive of, creativity, there was a buzz there. And Bill was kind of, he was the conductor. He had his orchestra, all these incredibly skilled men, and Bill was just there. He wasn't like a boss, he was a collaborator. He just would move around. Even the snake up in the attic had its purpose. I remember going across it one day, there's this like 9-foot python. It was like, no, don't worry, it just looks after the mice. Leave him alone. But the garage then was all about skiing, water skiing. Everyone had to learn how to water ski. Mothers, friends, everyone that worked there, kids. And Bill sort of rigged up this bracket off the side of the speedboat. So it saved time, he just hung onto this bar, and he'd be driving, looking at you, and you'd be like, and then you'd have me go on the bar, and then be off, and the next kid would be on, or someone's mum would be on, and everyone was included. That was the thing about Bill and Molly, that everyone was always included. They were always welcome, and there was always this kind of smile. Like, you look at the voices today, they're always smiling and laughing. I don't know what Molly does, she puts something in the pills in the food or something. But they've always been like a happy family and always, inclusive. And, that was amazing, just being part of that, going on those ski trips to the Hawkesbury and going to Toukley and, going to Rose Bay to learn how to ski, and it would always give you time. You'd always feel, valued. Like you had a place, and you had the respect, and it was just so much fun. He was just such a fun man to be around. Sorry, I got a bit of a hero worship. Those early years from 7 to 14, 15, going in and out of the garage, and so it's skiing, and all of a sudden this delta wing sort of glider turns up, and then Brock turns up with this V12 Bentley inboard engine that was just the biggest beast of a boat I'd ever seen, and people started getting pulled on the glider, which was unheard of then. And I remember I had to meet Steve at the Easter show one year because we were driving to Toukley, and all I had to do was be in the tunnels under the grandstand. And I'm like, Steve, what's going on? He said, well, Dad's just going to get pulled around the arena a few times, and then we'll hit the road and head to Toukley. And so Bill comes out, I only ever seen him in overalls. He comes out in this white suit, and the kind of white cape, a few stars on it, and then the beach buggy comes in, and the glider comes out, and he's like, yep, okay, and off he goes. He's like pulled around the showground, on this glider. And at that time, Sydney wasn't that flash. Like the Easter show was just all these crazy acts, and Bill's show was like the show to catch. It was just amazing. And then we went up to Toukley, and that was like the family. Everyone got together. And I remember one day we were all sort of on the beach, and Rocky had his V12 inboard engine just cranked, and we were all sort of watching, and Bill got towed up. And up, and up, and up, and like disappeared. And then I remember Molly saying, the rope just came down. Like he's getting pulled on this 300-meter rope. And then the rope drops, and Molly's like, oh my God, the rope just dropped. And it was like this hush of like, what is going to happen next? And we just watched what seemed forever. Bill just spiraling, free falling, and then disappeared. And it's like everyone just ran towards where he sort of went. And it's Toukley, sort of, I think a Saturday morning, holiday time, cars, people everywhere. And we're all sort of running to sort of see what had happened to Bill. And Molly's going, excuse me, see a man with a black vest. I had this pipe on his back that might have landed here recently. People were like, what? And then, out of the blue, Bill's walking down the main street. Glider on him, a big smile on his face. And everyone's just gobsmacked. Anyway, more stories, I'm sure. Thanks for all the fun times, Bill. Thanks for being such a great friend to my father for the past 85 years. And many days to come. Cheers.
Yeah, just reflecting on what you were saying with those stories, it's certainly interesting to be part of that family, be part of those stories from birth, and get to say, you know, when you can start writing a story. Bianca will remind me here, but at school, and you're writing your composition, and you just do like 1 page of storytelling. And so we would write our diaries, what happened for the day. And I remember a particular one of my sisters that said, so this morning, my grandfather woke up the Japanese that were sleeping on the trampoline. And they wouldn't wake up. So he threw the snake on the trampoline. And they still wouldn't wake up. They jumped off the trampoline and went under the trampoline. So he threw the snake under the trampoline. And then we all went for a swim or something like that. And that was the end of her page. And the teacher had written, "What a wonderful imagination." That was just our day-to-day. So I'm mentioning Hannah. She couldn't be here today, but she did write a few lines, and I'll just read them for you now. She's asked me to read them now. So I'm number 4 grandchild Hannah. When I was young, they used to call me the VP, the quiet achiever. I'd get up to all kinds of mischief, but I didn't make a sound. As kids and teenagers, Bill would love to go with us to Shoal Bay. We'd be water skiing, flying, fishing, sailing, packing as much as we could into a day. He taught us so many things, but the one thing that he taught all of us, and every friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, cousin, friends of their friends, was how to sweep and how to use a broom. And he especially liked to tell you when you were doing it wrong. He's always been there to help when we needed anything, a car, help buying a house, a lift somewhere, and he's given us so many experiences. He was extremely proud of me for adopting Brock's son, Theo, and he tells me every day. He taught me about the angle that seagulls fly on, but also in the same sentence, he'd look at my arms and say, "You shouldn't fly, your wrists are too skinny." He took Harrison to feed the birds. Harrison's Hannah's oldest son, with Mutzi every day, Jenny's youngest, and when we lived at Bronte. And he still loves hearing about the boys' adventures and the mischief they get up to as well. In the last few years, I've been lucky enough to pretty much see Bill every other day. Having the cafe next door, he still comes in for coffee daily. So I have those opportunities to tell him what the kids are up to. I'm not so quiet anymore, and I'm more like Hurricane Hannah when we arrive with the family, and he seems to love that too. Bill, I'm so grateful for all that you've taught us and provided for us. Thank you for being a great grandfather and a great great-grandfather to all the kids. Sorry we couldn't be here to celebrate with you, but we're getting good waves in Bali. 90 years, what a life. That's from Hannah. And then next up to share some stories is Bruce Carrera. There he is.
Thank you. I'll try and make it short. Most people tell me I don't need a microphone. Andy and I have been privileged enough to have a bit to do with Bill over the last 16 years since we bought a dragonfly. But before that, I towed behind Bill at Inglewood with Steve and actually come up to Dolby, and back in even before we started the Dolby Hang Gliding Club. But when we were when Inglewood fell to bits a bit, Andy and I decided we'd buy a dragonfly. So I said to Bill, "We want to buy a dragonfly, Bill." And he said, "Yeah, well, we're not just quite ready to register to get them certified yet, and I'll get you." I said, "I want to buy one. I'll bring you some money." And it was no tax people there. I had $25,000 in my pocket. I took it down and I flew into Sydney, and Bill picked me up and said, "We went to back to the old factory, and I handed him the envelope and I said, you better check it. There's no need for that. So he put it away, and then he said, we better go home. It was 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. We better go home because Mother's made some noodles. They're in the oven. And I said, oh, yeah, okay. So we go there. He got me up in the morning with a pair. I had 3 hours sleep. He threw a pair of swimmers on my face, and he lapped me about 6 times in that set of baths. I was that embarrassed in the end that I used to swim underwater, so he didn't see me, that he was passing me, but I knew he knew. And anyway, a little while later, about 3 months, I said, I got a phone call. And Bill, boys, how you going? Bill, you got started on that? Well, not quite yet. He said, yeah. He said, we chewed the fat about this and that. He said, that money you brought, how much was it? And I said, $25,000 just to get started. And there was a sort of a pregnant pause. And he said, you didn't happen to see where I put it. Dead set. He said to me later, I asked him, you ever find that money years later? He said, I can't remember what I had for breakfast. And that was just a really a start. So because Bill saved me, well, me particularly, from being one of those people who watch daytime television. You know, like you just can't. The next experience was Bill was pretty crook. And he was getting phone calls from Molly about 4 a day, drink water bills. I can't remember whether it was just after you got the pacemaker or just before. We were at Golgol. And no Casa people here, are there? And this fence jumped up. And I hit it with a dragonfly. And it flipped over. And the front got all knocked off and the instruments went one way. And I'm getting sprayed with petrol, and Bill rolls up like it was usually when he had his sleep because he was stuck. You know, we all said Bill won't see the year out. How good will he? And he comes over, get that dolly, put that cloner on there, we'll drag that back into the hanger. Now get it over here, now right. He said, now you start pulling it to bits, and he got a chair and he sat there and he told me, not that, tie the wing down first, not that Bob, pull that out. No, don't you know anything? Well, I had this thing I used to do with Bill. I'd go, gobble, 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 gobble. No, Bill, I'm just a bloody turkey. Why don't you keep going? Right? It was worth it. Bill was in his prime, and then at dark he said, I think we need to go to India and have a few red wines. There's water in that, isn't there? Because Ollie told him to drink a lot of water. So, and there are many, many, but I'll finish off with one which I have to work out which are palatable for a general audience. What was that? Oh yeah, where it falls in 2017. And some people would remember the Cam tumble. The guy behind me, all the crew had been debriefed and gone back into tent. And the only people in the hangar were Bill and some landowners. And over at the Aero Club was a guy, David McAnally and Bronte. And anyway, I told this guy, and he's horrible, bloody horrible. I hadn't seen him from 200 feet. Well, I never even saw his feet. And he was that high above me, and I'm from forage and from the ground. And we get to 1,400 feet, I hit an almighty thermal, the dragonfly went whack and crimped my neck actually. And I'm pointing at the ground, I couldn't see it either. And I'm not generating any speed. And I'm thinking, shit, shit, you've got a kite on the back. So I pulled the release, the guy tumbled twice, and you can imagine then I ran out of fuel. So I rolled it into the back of the hangar, and I'm pretty bloody charged up, you know, I'm pretty excited. And I went up to Bill, yeah, I think the guy tumbled. Mate, I can't see him anywhere, I don't know. I hope he's all right. And mate, I went, but Bill said, you like to tell stories. I haven't got time. Those people are landowners. Take them for a fly. We've got to look after them. Well, I haven't got any fuel. Put some fuel in a bloody aeroplane and take them for a fly. I said, Bill, but that... I don't want to hear about it. Get in the aeroplane. Up in the aeroplane. I went out, took the guy for a fly, and I flew him past his wife so he could wave and pretend he wasn't shitting himself. And they got the photos, and I landed the aeroplane. Bill still didn't want to know about it. I went over to the Aero Club. Veronica coming up and kissed me. She said, you were half naked. And David McAnally, the A pilot, said to me, he said, shit, mate, I'd still be in counselling. I said, I got counselling. I said to Bill, shit, mate, I don't want to hear about it. Get in a bloody aeroplane. And Bill, all I can tell you is there's nobody that doesn't love you. And people used to tell me when I was hang gliding and hadn't met you, Bill always just loved yelling at people. You know? And I soon found out that you were smart, articulate. You could, you could charm birds out of a tree when you wanted to. You just chose to be inarticulate at times when you thought you needed to be. And mate, you've saved us from daytime television. To be part of this group, to be part of, to be, not saying part of the family, but to be allowed to rub shoulders with people. I tell my family about hang gliding families, and we use yours as a model family. Because, mate, there's no dead ends in your family because every children is cultivated, every grandchild, everybody. You can see the potential in them. And, you're an amazing mob. And it wouldn't matter, we didn't have to come down from Queensland, but if we had to come from Thailand, honour you, we would, because you're brave, courageous, strong, incredible human being. And you've got the best sidekick in the world.
So Bruce, before the dragonflies, I just thought of a little memory. I think I was maybe 8 years old, and Benny and I had gone to Forbes to the Flatlands with Steve and Kim and Bill and Molly. And I remember this story recently because we were standing there looking at the photos. If you see the photos as you go into Molly's, there's these beautiful collages that Vicky's done. And the kids were asking me, who's that, who's that, who's that? And I said, oh, that's Benny and I. That's when we were at Forbes, sitting in the back of the red truck, watching the hang gliders go up. When the winch fell down, we had to jump out of the red truck and jump in the car as fast as we could. She goes, why? And I said, well, because they towed the hang gliders up, and this winch would go up and 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 up. And then the hang glider would unhook. Is this right? Am I telling you right? This is what I remember. The hang glider would unhook, and when the thing came hurtling out of the sky, that we were sitting on the back of the truck, his own grandchildren, watched the thing come hurling out of the sky. We had to go, stop! He'd stop the truck and we'd jump out the back and jump in the truck so we didn't get hit by this thing that was flying. So then he decided to build something safer, like a dragonfly. The grandkids weren't getting hit, but that was good fun times. Next to speak, Brendan.
when Vicky asked if I wanted to say something today, I thought, what am I going to say? I thought I've only got some notes from a eulogy I started to write for Bill about 10 years ago. I shouldn't tell those stories. But I've seriously been adding to that list about the last 10 years about the amount of times that he should have died. Mainly by Molly putting something in his food. And I think today is as much a celebration for Molly putting up with Bill for all of these years as it is for Bill somehow lasting 90 years. I mean, if you know any of the stories of Bill back in the day, doing the crazy things he did, travelling around the world, he should have died 1,000 times over. And I kind of learned this. I started off working for Bill as a pimply-faced little kid out of school. And I can't remember, I was chasing this lovely young lady here, and I think I didn't know which way it worked around. I think I started work with Bill to get to Madeline. It was one of the two. But anyway, when me and Matt ended up breaking up, Bill wouldn't let me go, so I thought, this is good. I'm kind of part of the family here. So anyway, look, I've got a million stories that have happened over the last sort of 25 years. I think I've been working with Bill. But a lot of them you just would not believe. They don't sound real. And there's only a few of the people here that would understand that those stories are real, because the extraordinary things that happen are just mind-boggling. And a lot of the stories that Matt was saying about the old auto electrics up at Charing Cross, that was really incredible. I don't even know what to call it. Like, it wasn't a business, it was 5 businesses. But it was also this, hangout of misfits. Some of the people that were there, I'm like, really, really serious criminals. And as you sit at the tea room and have tea around the table with these blokes, I'd be like, you did what? What was that? Anyway, but I think, and a lot of these characters that you see here today, enormous personalities and enormous characters, they get attracted to Bill because he is so full of life, and he just, I found this early on, everything was so much fun. It was hard work, but it was really living life to the absolute maximum. And that's one of the most amazing things that Bill's taught me over the years. Anyway, look, I don't want to tell too many crazy stories, but one of the things that just popped into my mind as well was I started working with Bill up at Auto Electrics, and I was the shit kicker. I'd sweep the floor, but I could see the most amazing things that happened there. There was a sail loft upstairs where they made hang gliders, downstairs they're making aeroplanes, the Auto Electrics, the paint shop, and all this other shit that happened in between. It was just an incredible place. So I wanted to be part of it, and I was willing to sweep the floors. And I learned early on that Bill, you're constantly being tested by Bill, even whether you think so or not, but you're always being tested. And it's a test of character, and it's a test of endurance and hard work. And if you give that to Bill, he will give you that back in spades. And he's done that for me. He almost killed me a lot of times. And after surviving those things and the work, after that he's given me not only money, because money's not very important to Bill, even though you might think it is. You might not want to pay for coffee, but he will give you his time. And his time is something that I think as you get older you realise that money is one thing, but time you can't get back again. And the Auto Electrics up there was a really good example of that, because people would come in and it's like, I've got a broken wheelchair or a broken thing. And Bill would spend an entire day fixing this thing for some random person, which no one knows who they are. But he would give that time to those people. And it's something that really opened my eyes to how you live life. And he did that with me. He taught me everything. I didn't know anything when I started working for him. And by the end, I was building planes and flying in the competitions and doing everything in between. And there's some life skills there that I've treasured forever, and I'll continue to do so. But anyway, look, I'll stop talking because I know there's a lot of stories and people like Bruce just go on for days. But I'm glad this is not a eulogy. I really am. And the main thing I want to take this opportunity to say before the eulogy is, Bill, I really love you, and I just want to let you know how much you've given me over the years. And also, the example of your family and friends is just something to really, really aspire to in life, I think. The family that you've built and how close and supportive they are of each other is something that I know everyone in this community, the flying community, Bronte, all of the people that you touch, they really look up to how you've built a family like this. And it is quite extraordinary. I think Maddie was saying that 14 grandkids and 16, almost 17 with Reba, great grandkids. And there's a very good potential of some great grandkids pretty soon. It's got to happen. So I think it's maybe her, yeah. But I really hope you hang around for the letter from the Queen. I think that'll be the next thing. The 100. Over the years, seeing you almost die 1,000 times, and I'm convinced that you're immortal and nothing can kill you, mate. So 100's not going to be a problem at all. But yeah, thanks for everything over the years, mate. I really appreciate it, and yeah, you've really been a big impact on my life. So thank you.
One that had started to write a eulogy a few years ago. Pretty nuts. I was in Italy, must have been 4 years ago now, 4 years ago. And Mum called up, I was working and I was just coming back from work, driving, and I asked her, hey, what's doing? She said, you better come home. You better come home. Bill's in hospital, this is it. You better come home. And I went, oh shit. All right. So reorganise everything. I said to her, what should I do? I'll take 2 kids. I'll take half of them. She stayed with Julia, who's in school. I'll take Isabella and Matteo. We get there. He's in hospital. He's on his last leg. He probably won't be conscious when we get there. So I prepared myself. I cried for 24 hours on the flight. Had a shower. Landed. Said, I want to go straight to the hospital. They said, Molly's there. Yeah, go. And I walk in the door and he's sitting up in bed with a cup and he says, what are you doing here? Said, I came to see you. He said, what for? And then we had beautiful, I'd like to say beautiful 5 days of him being strapped to a bed so he actually couldn't get out of the bed. They wouldn't let him get out of the bed. And we got to spend time with him. But I remember half an hour after I landed and I told him I brought Matteo and all of a sudden he's saying to the nurse, you got to get me out of here. I've got to go watch my kids go surfing. My grandkids are here from Italy. And he's telling everyone that would listen. So the physio then used that to get him up the stairs. He said, well, if you can walk up a flight of stairs and I'll let you go. And that got him back out, I think. So it was good. It was worth the trip. All right. Bill Weiderberg is going to say a few words. Where's Bill? Here he is. Bill actually came down last night to check dates and facts and things, so I think there's not too long, Bill. When you get here. Are you two the same age?
Look a lot older. He's 12 months older than I am. And you know when you get old, it's not like you were when you're young. Now I've been preceded by some very professional speakers, and I have either justice to the things that I know about Bill, and I was close to the family. Oh, sorry. Maybe you can hear me now. But I went to Clay Valley School, and it would have been 1943. I came across Bill Moyes, who was in the year above me. And I've got to know him, this sort of larrikin kid, skinny kid, he came to school not wearing shoes. And a few other kids did so, but Bill did it every day. Anyway, time passed and I began to surf at Bronte, and I saw Bill again there. He was also a member of the surf club, and a year later I joined the surf club. And Bill was riding a Wallace 16-foot hollow board, and most of the people here will be familiar with them. And at one stage, Harold Hunter and I bought one from Wallace. He was second hand. They had the greatest bitches of all time to ride. They fill with water. As soon as you get on the wave, the water runs to the nose, and then imagine what happens. Anyway, Bill seemed to manage to ride, and as a body surfer, at times would be on the same wave, which was possible because the longboards did not carve up, they just went straight ahead, and body surfers would be next to him and not be hurt. The other thing that I noticed about Bill was that he called me Joe. I thought, gosh, he's forgotten my name. Then I found out that he called everybody Joe. I was in this big family of Joes that happened to be around him. Now, the one thing that I recall quite distinctly is that Bill would sit on the beach or up on the cliffs, you'd see him there, watching seagulls. And, I mean, for someone who didn't really know what he was doing, but then found out, that was the precursor of Bill's knowledge of flight. And for a man to do that for a long, I mean, I'm not talking about 5 minutes, he'd do it year after year until he began to build what he thought would take him into the sky. And from those beginnings of watching the seagulls, how they flew, how they flew when they landed, he came to be a world famous figure. He's flown from the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's flown the Grand Canyon. He's flown at most of the Royal Easter shows in Australia. He's crashing so many times, he's broken a lot of bones, including a leg in Denmark. Why would you go to Denmark to break a leg? And the man that's sitting here today, as I went to Clay Valley School and grew up in Bronte and served here, is a world-renowned figure. Now, it takes a bit of doing to become world-renowned and to be decorated by our government and many organisations, and I mean a lot of organisations. Worldwide, including NASA, and if you don't pick up the acronym, NASA is a group that sends men to the moon and sends rockets to Mars. And to be recognised by his contributions of flying, I think is something to respect. And you certainly have my respect for all the things that he has done. He has, for example, the Medal of Technology and Innovation. And the things Bill has done, of course, is to innovate, invent, and have the art of flying improved in a constant line. Years ago, Bill told me the story of flying over Botany Bay with the president of the Hang Glider Association. They must have been asking about it because they both collided and fell into Botany Bay. He probably denied that. But it was he who told me the story. On another occasion, he was riding updrafts alongside cumulus clouds. It was something to do every day, isn't it? And on this occasion, he couldn't get down. He just kept on going and going, rising and rising, until he started to freeze. Anyway, eventually he avoided death and came down. Not so lucky, about a fortnight after that, a woman in Queensland was competing in some international hang gliding event. Also, the same thing happened to her. She fell out of the bed, out of the sky, frozen. So, this sport is not, this is a sport that's very dangerous, not without its risk. There are 2 pages. This happened about 1987. I was working with Tui's and Alan Bond's company taking us over. Alan Bond, I finally sent to jail. He's not an honest man. And Bill said to me over the phone that Ben Lexon worked for Alan Bond, but I know Ben Lexon. I said, yes, I've met him. He said, well, I've read that he'd like to go hang gliding. And he'd like me to teach him. He'd like me taught. And I'll do that, but you tell him I'll do that. So I'll take him and tell him I'll teach him the hang glide. So I rang Ben Lexon, he was quite happy to do that. But before I finished the conversation, Bill said that you've got to come too. And on one long weekend, we went to his home at Shoal Bay, and Lexon and I were welcomed warmly by Molly and the family. And we sat down to one of their dinners, which was, as has been said already, a very short affair. The following morning, Bill took us to some sand hills not far away, and Ben and I got put into a kite, walked up these sand hills, and then flew about, I suppose, 40 or 50 metres, and we thought that we had to flare at the end, and you can see I was still doing that. And we got by okay, and he said, well, tomorrow morning we'll take it out on the water. And it was like learning to water ski. You had a kite on your back, you had a length of rope in your hands and rocking on the sand, and as Bill with his V16 motor tore off, the rope ran out, you let go, and then the other end of the rope was tied to the frame and up you went. I was first, Lexon was behind me. And as I remember it, Bill was screaming up from the boat, because I'd begun to peel off to the left. He said, you've got to move your body, move your weight back to the right, and that'll straighten you up. Well, I'm hanging on this. And before I put in the air. And he started to turn over the left, and he said, move your body. It seemed like hanging on this matter at all. I started like that, and I said, I am. I'm moving that way. Well, I was moving the centre gravity didn't change at all. So it's like a guy moves upside down and go into the water. And Bill says to me, I'll take you back in, you can do it again. I didn't want to be there in the first place. Anyway, Ben's watching this. What's going to happen, I suppose. Anyway, we get back to this bit of sand we're on at Shoal Bay, and Steve was there. He told me what I did wrong, and he said, now, when you actually make sure you move your whole body in a straight line, just twist it. So I got that idea, and out we went, and this time I succeeded. And then Lexon went up, and of course, when you're in a hang glider, you've got a thing like a clutch handle on a motorbike, and when you clutch to let go, you pull it. Well, the following day, Lexon didn't training did all right, but the following day we were up pretty high, and before you can be free of the rope, you have to pull the clutch handle, and it didn't work. So Lexon tied this rope and the boat, and way up in the air until the engineer he was enabled him to track what he should do, which he then did, and we both successfully rather land back on the spit of sand or close to it anyway, where Stephen was. And I say, Bill, that flying a hang glider, no longer tied to that rope, where all you hear is the sound of the machine being flying through the air. No engines, just you and the kite. It's one of the most exhilarating feelings you can ever have. And I will be grateful to you for all of my lifetime. May not be too long yet, but I will not forget that experience. So I thank you and I wish you happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I think that's a real testament to a life well lived, which is what I guess we all want to do in some ways, touch somebody else and you know, allow them to experience life perhaps in a different way. So I guess I'd love to just do a show of hands. If you're a grandchild, do you want to just put your hand up? All the grandchildren? And great-grandchildren. And then the great-grandchildren. And over there in the corner. And then if you've been flying with Bill, maybe put your hand in the air. When he crashed or landed or flew. And then if you were taught to use a broom by Bill. And if you've been invited to the Moyes family house for dinner. In a time. Oh, and if you're burnt with a teaspoon by Bill. So that's a good way to know that you've touched many lives. Thank you so much. Now Vicky is going to speak. If she can keep it together.
Hello everyone, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. So 15, maybe 12 years ago we catered for the 60th wedding anniversary and we ran out of food. So today we pulled out all the guns and there is plenty of food. I'd like to thank the girls for the wonderful spread. Jackie and Auntie Rada, Mad, Deb, Jen, Glennis. We've got some beautiful desserts as well. So since it's been Bill's birthday on the 12th of July, so it's been a couple of weeks, people have been sending their well wishes from all over the world. We've got a little video to show after. But mostly they all tell the same story, and that is to say that the time I spent with the Moyes family was the best time in my life. Whether they slept on a trampoline or under a trampoline.
Countless pilots were able to experience your flying, family and food. They all learned how to sweep a floor, call a rope, thread a fish hook or weld, just to name a few other talents. You never said no to anyone, our doors were always open and you welcomed everyone. I can remember one night you brought a guy home for dinner that had just bought a hang glider off. And you and Nana took it off you, and Nana said, in front of the guy, of course, so why don't David Jones take people home for dinner when I buy something from them? It was quite an unconventional upbringing. They played a very important role in moulding all of us into the people we are today. Yes, Greg blames you for all the hang gliding pilots that you have made room for our home too. Just like Mum said, I wouldn't have wanted it to do it any other way. Happy birthday, Bill. All our love.
Yeah, I'll often get a call from, I live in Italy most of the year, and I'll get a call from either Vicky or an email from Steve. Hey, this hang glider pilot's coming over. Can you put him up for the night? So my Italian family soon learned that that's just what we do in this family. I think I remember Bill or Nana or Molly saying Bill came home. If Bill came home without somebody for lunch, Nana said, well, didn't you just want to stop at the bus stop and pick someone up? That was the usual at our place. But growing up like that, it meant we were around so many cultures and languages and people, and it was just a norm, and it was a really good way to be, way to grow up. So, do you want to show the video?
No, so Bruce has got the video, right?
Yep. So Bill's got a lot of friends around the world. So Bill's got a lot of friends around the world, and Vicky's had them all send in greetings. So if you're a bit far away, you might want to come forward so you can see it a bit better. Bill, so you can see. Bill, you need to turn around so you can see this. All your mates.
Wow, how did we get here so fast? We have had a lifetime of love, laughter, joy and our fair share of sorrow. From running a fruit shop to selling donuts and opening Bill Moy's Auto Electrics to selling hang gliders. I have loved supporting you on your crazy flying adventures which took us all over the world. We did it all together, and at times it felt like a marathon, but I wouldn't have wanted it to do it any other way. We have so much to be grateful for. Our kids and their kids and now their kids' kids, all so full of life and love and a great work ethic that you have taught and instilled into every one of them. Happy birthday.
Start talking, guys.
Happy birthday, Bill!
Hello, meu Mois. Happy birthday to you. Márcio Rosadas, Brasil. Show.
Happy birthday, Bill. Thank you for making our dreams come true. Marcelo Ferro, Brazil.
Happy birthday, Bill.
Young fellow. Happy birthday, Bill. I hope I'm gonna see you somewhere soon. You should come to Europe where we hang out for party and everything. Okay, Bill. Take care.
G'day, Bill. G'day, everybody. Adam Hunt here. It's been a while. Mate, thank you so much for being aboard with Wings, which allowed me to be aboard with Wings. On the occasion of your 90th birthday, I want to wish you all the very best and the rudest of rudest good health. Mate, here's to you. Happy birthday. Good on you, Bill.
Hi, Bill and Molly. We are from Jakarta Hang Gliding Club. Wish you a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Bill. Happy birthday!
Hey Bill, happy 90th from the New South Wales Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association. All 1130 say happy birthday. Have a good one, mate.
Hello, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
All the best to your 90th birthday from Dresden, Austria.
Hello, Bill. Happy 90th. Great to hear that you're going along so well, and all the best for the next 90 years.
Hey, Bill. Happy birthday. I hope you're having a great time. Striking pink. Anyway, Bill,
Happy birthday. Love you.
Happy birthday, Bill！ 你好 ，Bill！ 听说过几天就是你的90岁生日了，非常开心。希望你身体健康，越来越年轻。也希望你有时间再来中国。我们现在有了新的场地，然后滑翔翼、滑翔机、各种飞机，而这一切都要感谢你。是你让我们的飞行梦想变成了现实。祝你生日快乐！
Happy birthday, Marilyn!
Come on.
Happy
birthday,
boys.
from Maryland.
From the Williamsons, we're all wishing you a happy birthday. We can't all get together.
Boo-wah.
Right.
Happy birthday, Bill, from the Cooper family in California. Wait, how old is he again?
90.
Strike me pink, Bill. Happy 90th.
Thanks for getting us going on a pretty fantastic journey. We've had a lot of fun over a lot of years. Thanks for starting us going. Cheers. Good health. Thanks, Bill.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Bill Moyes, happy birthday to you from Italy.
2005, it was Hay, I came in 5th, and the prize giving ceremony I got the prize from Bill, and it was a very important moment of my life. And then 2009, I got so lucky to win the World Championship. And one of the first people that shook my hands was Bill Moyes. And that's still something that makes me get a cold back. So, happy birthday, Bill.
Hi, Bill. 90, it's incredible age for the guy who did all these towing, hang gliding exhibitions around the world in 60s and 70s. Not caring about headwind or tailwind on takeoff and landing. Well done. Wish you good health, enjoy the life and keep going as you did till now. Congratulations. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Maureen and I'm the spokesperson for Bill's siblings. I'll speak a little of the things that we can recollect on Bill's early life. Unfortunately, there is not too much to report, as the younger siblings were too young to remember him. Lorraine even commented that she didn't even know that Bill was her brother for quite a few years. In his teen, Bill took to the streets on his motorbike, joining his mates, and didn't spend much time at home playing with his siblings, except, of course, for Pat, who was always his special sparring partner. Our main memories of Bill are of trying to drag him from the surf when we needed him to replenish the dough for the donut machine so that we could keep his donut customers happy. But if the surf was up, nothing else mattered to Bill. The main stories about Bill that we recall are those told by Mum and Dad. Mum was quite a storyteller. Many was the time that Mum told us of the story how Bill saved us from near starvation when her weekly budget often didn't go the distance. She would say, "Bill, I haven't got anything for dinner." Bill's reply would be, "Don't worry, Mum, I'll go and catch some fish for you." Off he'd go to the rocks at the back of the cemetery, catching anything he could get on his line, and would return home hours later with the fish threaded onto a wooden pole in order of size, and many of them having far more than their fair share of bones. Mum was so happy that she could feed the cast of thousands with this lovely fish meal. Dad's favourite story he often told with a chuckle was overhearing a conversation between two of the local men when Bill came speeding down McPherson Street on his motorbike. When one of the men saw him coming, he said to his mate, "Look, there goes that lunatic I was telling you about." Dad also spoke of Bill building a ramp up to the front bedroom window so that he could safely store his prized motorbike in the bedroom. Other than that, our memories of Bill are few and far between, except for later in life. I'd like to acknowledge how many jobs Bill and Molly have provided for the extended family over the years, be it in the fruit shop, the kiosk, the auto electrical or hang gliding businesses. It provided a sound footing for those starting out to gain some knowledge of business and trade. Those of us who benefit of this experience were very grateful for this opportunity. Having said all this, I'd like to say thank you to Bill and Molly and a happy 90th birthday, Bill.
Bill's younger brother, and he used to take me fishing everywhere when I was in my mid-teens and he was in his 20s. And he used to go in his dinghy, and this day he took us out to the Wedding Cake Island off Coogee and go fishing for blackfish. We got hung up on the rocks and we got tipped over by a big wave. We swam ashore to the rocks and the surf club guys came out, the fly sailors came out in their surf skis and rescued us, towed them back to shore with us on it. We lost all our gear and it was the worst fishing trip ever.
Shake me back.
Thank you to Bruce Wynn for the video for putting all that together. So we're just going to sing Happy Birthday. Did you want to say something, Bill? You've always got something to say.
Just give him the microphone.
I don't know what to say. Did you hear all those nice things those people said about you?
I have got to stay with me. I can't do anything without a problem. Thank you, everybody.
Big hooray. So if the kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids could just come round here so we can sing happy birthday. Everyone come round. We'll all sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bill. Happy birthday to you. Hooray! 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 Who's got a sharp knife and a board? Thanks everyone, that's it for the speeches. Please help yourselves to food. Molly's been saying for 5 days there's not going to be enough food, and now as soon as she got to Paris, she said, no one's eating enough. If there's food left over, it's because you all didn't eat enough. Not because you brought too much. Thanks again everyone for coming. Oh, and please help yourself to the dessert table. Okay. Let's see a copy of